A very good morning and welcome all of you to the news analysis for 23rd of January 2025. So in today's news analysis, we are going to see some interesting topics of economy. Let us have a look quickly. Tax avoidance. Welcome all of you to the news analysis for 23rd of tax avoidance treaties. India is revising the tax avoidance treaties. What do we mean by this economic term, tax avoidance treaties? What is the meaning of principal place of base erosion and profit shifting? Then what do we mean by place of effective management? These points are very, very important insofar as understanding of general anti-avoidance rules is concerned. So in today's news analysis, the main topic of analysis is going to be tax avoidance treaties that India has signed with other countries like Cyprus, Mauritius, and other tax haven countries. So I'm going to explain this complete phenomena in today's news analysis so that you carry this concept once and for all throughout your life, not just for exam, but for general understanding also. So let's have a look at the other topics. National Health Mission. It was launched in the era of Dr. Manmohan Singh. There were two missions, National Rural Health Mission and National Urban Health Mission. Both these missions were merged together to launch a combined mission called as National Health Mission way back in 2013. National Health Mission had targets like improving India's maternal mortality rate, reducing the deaths during the birth giving of the women, right, of the mother. So those kind of targets, institutional deliveries, so that the deliveries of pregnant women, they take place in the hospitals, and universal immunization, so that health indices of India as a whole improve, right? But there have been certain problems also. The discussion of this particular news clipping in this today's news analysis will enable you to write a question which has been incorporated in the news analysis today. The question is, examine the performance of National Health Mission, critically analyze it in the light of India's performance, right? We conduct National Family Health Survey every at a periodic gap. Those National Family Health Surveys are showing a rosy picture of India, but problem is of doctors. We do not have enough doctors. Those kind of points you will get to see in this news analysis today regarding this National Health Mission. Now, another program's review, Beti Bachao Beti Padhao program. In a way, phase 2 has been launched, or 2.0 version of this program has been launched. So we are going to see flagship scheme for girl child. How has it helped defeat the bias against the female child? How has it improved the female child sex ratio at birth? How many girls are going to schools today? And then the next step, as I said, the 2.0 version of it aims to put more girls into science, technology, these type of subjects, okay, so that they get employment, so that these girls are employable in the colleges, or they get some remuneration or remunerative subjects they study. Now, Saif Ali Khan's enemy property case, this I will explain very briefly why Saif Ali Khan's ancestral house is at risk. Now, what is US's new rule for exporting AI chips? If you remember, we had covered this particular news article, news issue of a verified end user, wherein the countries have been divided into 3 sections on the basis of their ability to export these kind of sophisticated technology items from the USA. So these topics are going to be there. Udan modern history, when will it start? It will start after maybe this polity is over or economy is over. Okay. So is the government encouraging Crosspathy? What is Crosspathy? A very small news, but mixing of homeopathic doctors, or allowing the homeopathic doctors to practice modern medicine, to practice allopathy, which is dangerous. What did Supreme Court say on this? So this is a quick discussion of the news articles that we are going to discuss in today's news analysis. Now, let me just... Okay, so these things are going to be there. Now, tax avoidance treaties. So what happens? Please try to understand this topic in its entirety. See, when a country like India signs the agreement with another country like USA, or let's say Mauritius. Okay, Mauritius is a tax haven. What do we mean by tax haven? tax havens are small countries like Panama Canal, Switzerland, which do not have enough number of people who can pay taxes to run the country's administration. Like we hire IAS officers, we hire IPS officers, we ensure law and order, we ensure development in our country. Okay, but these countries are so small in themselves that they cannot run their administration because they do not have enough economic activity in their jurisdiction. They do not have many factories here which can help them run their administration. So their tax collection is very low tax collection. That is why what they do is, these type of countries do is, they charge artificially low tax of 5%, okay, to attract companies from India and USA. Okay, let's say India has signed double taxation avoidance agreement with USA also, and it has signed double taxation avoidance agreement with Mauritius also. What do we mean by double taxation? Tax will not be levied double, twice over. If a company from Mauritius is setting up its office in India, or it's setting up its company in India, company to run the business or to manufacture goods, that company will have to pay tax either in Mauritius or in India. Are you getting my point? So that the company does not have to pay tax twice over. Let's say there is a company, Reliance. Okay, names are imaginary, they haven't got anything to do with the real names. Okay, so this is not Reliance, this is Reliance. This company will deliberately set up an office in Mauritius. That Mauritius office will set up the subsidiary company in India. Now you can see this parent company is in Mauritius. This Mauritius company is going to set up company A in India. Now imagine this company in India, factory in India, chimney, etc. This is okay. It is manufacturing goods. Here is only the corporate office where employees sit, and that is also for namesake. Now this company in India is earning a profit of 5,000 crore rupees. Okay, will it pay tax in India or will it pay tax in Mauritius? Please answer quickly. Please try to answer this. I'm waiting for each one of yours comment here. Let's make it two-way communication. Let's have two-way interaction. I'm alone, not going to speak now. Company will pay tax in Mauritius because India and Mauritius have double taxation avoidance agreement. That means India and Mauritius have signed, Indian government and Mauritius government have signed an agreement wherein according to which the company Reliance, okay, name is just imaginary, is going to pay tax only in one of the countries, either India or Mauritius. It's not going to pay tax in both the jurisdictions. Okay, so in Mauritius the rate of tax is 5%. In India the rate of tax on companies is 25%, 22%, right? If this company were to pay tax in India, if this company was required to pay tax in India, it would have paid how much tax? 104 crore rupees, right? Yes, 104 crore rupees. Sorry, 1040 crore rupees, right? Approximately. I'm not able to make the calculation quickly. Okay, approximately 1000 crore rupees. But now this company is going to pay tax in Mauritius at only 250 crore rupees, around 250 crore rupees, 5% of 5,000 crores, because this parent company is registered in Mauritius. So these companies, these corporate structures are artificially created just to avoid payment of excessive tax in countries like India, in countries like USA. Okay, the purpose of, my dear students, I'm teaching this topic very slowly so that you are able to understand. Bookmark or timestamp this video, this particular section of this class today, and retain it for your future usage. It will come in handy to you whenever required, whenever you want to revise this topic. What is the entire story of GAR rules? Okay. Now, many people struggle to understand this aspect of economy. That is why I'm not just reading it out. I'm not just telling you the factual aspect of it. We are covering this topic in its, what to say, totality, right? Now, see here, double taxation avoidance agreements were invented or were thought of so as to enable the genuine companies only, to have economic activity all over the world and yet pay tax only in the jurisdiction where they are actually registered. Okay. But these double taxation avoidance treaties or agreements between two countries are being misused by countries or economies which are known as tax havens. HAVENS. These tax havens are low tax jurisdictions. Being very, very slow so that you can jot down. These tax haven. Somit, what classes are you talking about? These tax havens are low tax jurisdictions which keep tax around 3% to 5%. Some examples of tax havens are Mauritius, Panama Canal, Switzerland, these type of small island countries. I have incorporated map also so that you can understand this. Okay. Now from India, money will be sent via Hawala, international crime syndicates. Okay. For which we have set up, what have we done recently? We have set up Bharat Pol, or we have given powers to ED, Enforcement Directorate. Okay, these people will send crores of rupees from India to Panama Canal or Mauritius, and this money will again come back to India via Hawala. This phenomena is called as round tripping. Money is taking a round trip. All right, money is going in the black form and will come back in the white form. These countries like Panama Canal, etc., these tax havens, they enable this kind of a transaction because the very size of the country is very small. Panama is very small to have a nuclear power plant, for example, to have big factories. That is why these tax haven countries have emerged as mere corporate houses, mere place to have corporate houses, corporate offices of very big companies. Amitabh Bachchan, Panama paper leak case, many people have been alleged to have set up their companies in these areas, in these tax havens, and they send money to India. Now, India is a very big country. We face disasters. We have set up Kudankulam nuclear power plant, which entails a lot of money. Kudankulam nuclear power plant, 70,000 crore rupees we have invested so that the car companies in Chennai, in Tamil Nadu, they can have 24/7 electricity. The 24/7 electricity will enable them to produce cars which will be sold out of India. That is why any good country, any good economy requires money to run itself. Money comes from taxes. That is why taxes in big countries like India, the US, Britain, okay, leave Britain aside, okay, China, they are higher than the taxes in these countries, tax havens. Okay, but double taxation avoidance agreements that India has signed with, let's say, other countries. Double taxation avoidance agreement that India has signed with USA, the companies of USA operating out of USA, McDonald's, Burger King, okay, name any company, Tommy Hilfiger, etc. These companies having their corporate office in USA, but their factory in India, Adidas, factory in Bangladesh, okay, apparel companies of the USA. Those companies, they sell goods in India. Some companies are set up in China. For example, Apple mobile phones. Apple is registered in San Francisco, the state of USA. As a registered office, it is of San Francisco, USA. That means of all the global operations, of all the global economic activity that Apple is carrying out, tax will be paid in USA. Why? Because USA has signed double taxation avoidance agreements with countries like India, China, USA, India, China, Russia, all over, South Korea, etc., Japan also. So this is the advantage to the companies. I'm not well today. I mean, for last few days, Okay, so despite that, I'm continuing. Pardon me for some coughing, etc. Now, getting my point? So this is how the economic activity is given shape. Now, the problem that is happening is these double taxation avoidance agreements are being misused by some companies which just want to avoid tax. I've given you the background how double taxation avoidance agreements are signed, what is their purpose, what do companies gain out of it, and what do countries gain out of it. Countries like India, what are we gaining? We are gaining that companies will be set up in India. If a company Apple will set up manufacturing plant in India, if a company Toyota of South Korea, for example, will set up a Toyota cars manufacturing plant in Chennai, factory setting up will give employment to people of India, people in Chennai. Okay, so these things enable increase in the economic activity for both the countries. The country like USA, where the registered office of Apple is set up, will also set to gain in terms of increased profit for the USA, increased tax revenue for the USA. When Apple will earn profit out of India, that profit will be taxable in the USA. USA's rate of taxation is lower than that of India. Okay, the tax rate in USA is 18%. Okay, tax rate in India is for new companies 22%, manufacturing 22-25%, right? So still, India is seeing an economic activity. To how many people will Apple, how many people of India will Apple give job? Apple will give job to thousands of people. Toyota plant in Chennai, even though the profit of Toyota will go to South Korea, nonetheless, India will see a lot of economic activity. Factory will be set up in Chennai, cars will be made out of India, right? An entire ecosystem will be there. Now, the problem is some people, some companies, and some countries are using it for the negative purpose. For example, parent company in Vodafone case, many of you would have heard of this Vodafone case. Parent companies deliberately set up in the low tax jurisdiction. Okay, low tax jurisdiction, you can see here. Earlier, Hutch company was there. Hutch used to be there. Hutch was acquired by Vodafone. Okay, the assets of Hutch India were lying in, underlying assets were in India, the tower, etc., the telecom infrastructure that Hutch company had created from 2006 to 2008-9. It was all lying in India. Hong Kong based Hutch company sold its business for 1,10,000 crore rupees to a company based in Netherlands. What was the name of the company? Vodafone. Okay. So Vodafone based company, what is the tax rate in Netherlands? 5%. What is the tax rate in Hong Kong? 5%, 7%. So the entire deal took place in the countries outside India with which India had signed double taxation avoidance agreement. In a way, Indian government said that you are fooling us. Why? Because the place of activity, place of effective management, place of business is in India. Why are you not paying tax to Indian government? Hutch was told to pay tax to Indian government, but Hutch did not pay. Okay, Vodafone came to India. Government asked Vodafone to pay 11,000 crore rupees at the rate of 10% on this money. Vodafone challenged it in Supreme Court of India, saying that why are we supposed to pay? Because we signed the deal outside India. India is not involved. Indian government said that since the business is in India, we are rightfully deserving of the tax on this entire deal of 1,10,000 because it was Indian consumer, it was the Indian market in which business was set up. It was India which provided 24/7 electricity to the telecom towers of Vodafone. Hutch. Previously, it was Hutch. Hutch company's business was acquired by Netherlands based Vodafone company. So this is how, to avoid tax, these companies like Vodafone, Hutch, they set up their corporate offices in low tax jurisdiction, low tax country. Panama Canal, Netherlands, Cayman Islands, Hong Kong. to the disadvantages of countries like the US, India, where the real business takes place. Got it? That is why, to check this phenomena, what has government done this time? Government has come up with some new rules which is called as principal purpose test. You understand this phenomena now? What is the principal purpose of signing a treaty, of setting up a company? If any company wants to claim benefit under India Mauritius double taxation avoidance treaty. Tax treaty means double taxation avoidance treaty. It is the meaning of it. It will apply prospectively. Not retrospectively. What do we mean by retrospective? Retrospective means back date, from the back date, from date in the past. Now here, the double taxation avoidance treaty that India has signed with Mauritius will be subject to principal purpose tax. That means any company, if it wants to claim the benefit of double taxation avoidance treaty, it will have to pass the test. What is the test? Principal purpose test. What is the meaning of it? Principal purpose test means that the actual intention of setting up the company will be checked by the Central Board of Direct Taxes of India. Got it? A technical thing it is. Now, what is principal purpose tax? It is a key anti-abuse. You can avoid tax, but you cannot abuse the tax department. You cannot abuse the treaty. You should be using the treaty for legitimate, genuine purpose of doing economic activity. But if you are setting up your shop, your company's corporate office in the Mauritius, Panama Canal, etc., only to save tax, only to not pay higher rate of tax to the Indian government, then the treaty benefit will not be paid. Okay, so it is a general test that tax authorities in India will now use to determine whether obtaining a tax benefit was one of the principal purposes of an arrangement or transaction, like the one in Vodafone India case. Okay, obtaining the tax benefit was the only purpose. If yes, it was the only purpose, then treaty benefit will not be provided. Even though some person coming from Mauritius investing 20,000 crores in India says that he will not pay tax to Indian government. Indian government will then, the Central Board of Direct Taxes will then check the real intention behind the transaction. Whether the company was set up in Mauritius only to avoid paying higher tax, this will be checked with the help of principal purpose test. Got it? So this is the meaning of it. Once you will read it, you will understand the whole essence of it. Many people who joined late, they can watch it later on. They can revisit it. You will understand. Okay. What is the meaning of treaty shopping? Treaty shopping means what? When you go to some shopping mall, what do? You go through a lot of shops. Okay. On outside the shops, it is written 50% off. Outside some shop, it is written 60 plus 30% off. Outside some shop, it is written 99% off. Which shop will you enter? Which shop will you enter looking at the discount rates written outside the shop? 50%, 60 plus 30 or 99%? You will enter 99% shop. The shop which is offering you 99% discount, right? This is the meaning of treaty shopping also. Mauritius is offering 5% rate. Okay, Panama is offering 4.5. Hong Kong, let's say, is offering 3%. Example only. Which country will you set up your business in? Answer me. Which country will you want to set up your big company in, given that these are the tax rates? You would want to set up your business in 99%, of course, country which is offering 3% tax rate, lowest tax rate. So they do the treaty shopping. Okay, with which countries, with whatever countries India has signed the double taxation avoidance treaty, with only those countries, in only those countries will Reliance, will Nadani want to set up his company in, right? Got it? Hong Kong. Got my point? That is the meaning of treaty shopping. Any prospective any prospective company pardon me guys, any prospective company intending to make investment out of India or investment from a particular country would first check whether India has a treaty, has an agreement with that country or not. This is the meaning of treaty shopping. Done. Let's move further to the next topic, tax avoidance agreements, etc. I will take some more classes on the economy, current affairs, etc. Then we will give one complete hour to this particular topic. I have the full PPT ready. These are the just the screenshots from that particular PPT, topic based PPT on general anti avoidance rules. Now let's move to the next one. National Health Mission has curbed several public concerns, says the central report. Central government has submitted the report to the central cabinet. It's like PM Modi telling to PM Modi that we have done a good job. Got it? On a lighter note, now see here. What has happened? Union government said in its assessment report 2021-2024 presented to the union cabinet. Union government submitting the report to the union cabinet that union government's national health mission, which was brought about in 2013 after merging the two existing missions, National Urban Health Mission, National Rural Health Mission, that it was said that pardon me guys, it was said that this National Health Mission has served our purpose well in terms of improving India's health indices. Okay, improving India's health indices. This National Health Mission has done a good job. How? Number one, maternal mortality ratio has come down. Incidence of TB has come down. Sickle cell anemia has come down. Now, the other day we saw sickle cell anemia. Please answer, what do we mean by sickle cell anemia? We studied various types of anemias in the other class, in the previous day's class, when Lancet had published some study on it, right? Now, it has also contributed, it was of 10th of January. It has also contributed to expanding human resources in the field while fostering expanding human resources in the field. That means more doctors, more Anganwadi nurse midwives, more ASHA centers, more ASHAs, accredited social health activists. Now, National Health Mission is credited with more presence of, better presence of health functionaries in the field, so as to increase the number of institutional deliveries. Now, see here, the report says that in the financial year 2021-2022, National Health Mission facilitated engagement of 2.69 lakh additional healthcare workers. But is it a good number? Then we need to see the details, because the devil lies in the detail. These are pseudo doctors in the sense that they can be called as healthcare workers, but they are not actually the doctors. We need to increase India's doctor to population ratio, wherein we are lacking. National Health Mission did not have as its objective was not to increase the number of doctors. We need that thing. Okay, it's good that it's commendable that the performance of India insofar as sustainable development goals are concerned, of increasing the health indices, improving the health status in India, they have been there has been a commendable performance, but the performance has come at the cost of putting additional burden on the existing hospitals, right? Existing functionaries. So that is the problem, including general duty medical officers, specialists, staff nurses, Ayush doctors, allied healthcare workers, right? Ayush doctors, etc., and public health managers. 90,000, 91,000 community health officers were engaged. So the in-field presence of healthcare functionaries has improved. Yes, Radhika. Okay. So now, achievements of National Health Mission, again, 4.21 lakh additional healthcare professionals engaged in financial year 2022-2023. Now, see the definition of healthcare professionals. It includes everybody. Okay, including ASHA workers, Ayush doctors also. So, staff nurses, right? Now, Under NHM, maternal mortality rate has declined by 83% since 1990. What is the year? 1990. When did we start NHM? NHM was not started in 1990. The National Rural Health Mission was started in 2005-6, right? Urban Health Mission came later on in 2012. Both these missions were merged together in 2013. Then why are we taking the 1990 data? Critical analysis I'm doing, right? We are taking the 1990 health data just to jack up the performance of the government, right? Now, it has declined by 83%, which is higher than the global decline of 45%. It's good that India has done a commendable job. But we are specifically talking about National Health Mission. Why? Because our today's daily mains question is, what were the main targets of National Health Mission? Okay, critically assess the performance of National Health Mission in the light of the targets so prescribed. When this National Health Mission was launched, what were the targets that were kept? Okay, so this is the point we should be worried about. Reduce, these are the goals, reduce maternal mortality rate to 1 per 1000 live births. This basically means if 1000 women are giving birth to babies, respective their own babies, only one woman should die, should be allowed to die, right? Earlier, during the Millennium Development Goals kept in 1990, this number used to be around 200. For every 1000 births, 200 plus women in India would have to face death. Reduce infant mortality rate to 25 per 1000 live births. Due to advancement in medical facilities, why more than 25 babies should be allowed to die for every 1000 live births. Okay, for every 1000 live babies being born, only 25 should be allowed to die, not more than that. Reduce total fertility rate to 2.1. This basically translates to, for let's say, if there are 100 women, let's say if there are 10 women, they should give birth to not more than 21 babies. 21 babies for every 10 women in the productive age group. Got my point? So no, this way we will be able to bring down our population. But we are revisiting this goal in the light of graying of population in China, in the light of what is happening in Japan. In Japan, they have police, but police is helping the old people, aged people, because there is no crime, right? The job of police in Japan is to just help the octogenarians to take their good care, right? So we don't want that kind of a scenario. So that is why we are revisiting our population goal. 2.1 total fertility ratio. Prevention and reduction of anemia in women. Then prevent and reduce mortality and morbidity. What do we mean by morbidity? The incidence of falling ill. Okay, morbidity means sickness from communicable, non-communicable injuries. Reduce household out-of-pocket expenditure. Out of pocket. A common man for OPD treatment has to spend 70% of the expenses out of his own pocket. Okay, uh, Reddy Commission of 2012 had commented upon it. Okay, so this thing is there. Now, reduce annual incidence and mortality from tuberculosis by 50%. TB, incidence of TB, thanks to DOTS program, thanks to the strategy of the government to counter XDR TB, extremely drug resistant TB. So these type of programs have led to incidence of TB coming down at the required rate. So these things are there. Now, background launched by Government of India. This background thing you can read. Government has been patting its own back about this thing. So it is a good thing. We can expect a question also. Infant mortality rate has fallen from 39 per 1000 live births in 2014 to 28 in 2020. Okay, infant mortality rate has come down. Then your India is on track to meet its UN Sustainable Development Goal targets for maternal, child, and infant mortality. Please answer which SDG, which Sustainable Development Goal talks about health parameters, health goals. Please answer. A very small, easy question. Now, moving on to the other program, flagship scheme of Prime Minister Modi, Beti Bachao Beti Padhao Yojana, has led to perceptible, visible change in attitude towards the girl child, as it is reflecting in the improved child sex ratio. So, historically low child sex ratio has shown remarkable improvement, while asserting that Beti Bachao Beti Padhao program campaign has helped overcome the gender bias and awareness campaigns. Now, UPSC had asked this question, that why despite being rich, mains question, why despite being rich, the northern states of India, Punjab, Haryana, are having low female child sex ratio. Can anybody answer this? We will be incorporating case studies, etc. The questions also, their answers also in the coming days. Please answer this. The reason is, yes, Rohan and Anshu. Okay. So the reason is that the problem of dowry, despite these states are very rich, problem of dowry is quite high. The rich the state, the rich the family, the richer the family, the more would be the amount of dowry. This is the underlying reason in Punjab and Haryana. That is why girls are not wanted, despite being rich. So that means the affluence, the richness of a family does not translate into positive attitude towards women. Got it? Compare this to northeastern India, the female child sex ratio is better, even though those states are, northeastern states are not as affluent, as rich in terms of per capita income as the northern states of India. Got it? So this is the these type of questions are asked, right? Now examine what all other factors have fed into positive attitude toward women. Government of India, my dear students, when you think of these things, think of it in a holistic manner. UPSC toppers, okay, a holistic approach has been followed. Starting from Tina Darby, etc. Girls have been, see, this kind of a manipulation can be done and it is possible also, okay. Girls are able to score well in their civil services. Then movies like Dangal, role of cinema, in inculcating a positive attitude towards women. Okay, then what other sports? Okay, then government has recently passed women reservation bill. Okay, legislative agenda. Then of course, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Okay, so when government comes up with such a laudable scheme, headed or spearheaded by the Prime Minister, none other than the Prime Minister, the Bollywood, the cinema also gets a shot in the arm to do something around it. Okay, movies like Padman, better attitude towards sanitary napkin or hygiene for women. Okay, so these type of movies, cinema, etc. also have contributed towards this program, right? While writing an answer, write dynamically so that you are able to score 1 or 2 marks extra. Now, this is there. The national sex ratio at birth has improved. This data is important. Yes, you have to jot down this data. Has improved from 2000 from 918 in 2014-15 to 930 in 23-24. The gross enrollment ratio of girls at the secondary level has risen from 75.51% to 78%. Now, the enrollment ratio of girls at secondary level. Secondary level, why is it important? See, I'm giving you a word. Memorize it right here, right now. Chastity. Female bodily chastity. If I were to use a bit of Hindi, महिला की what we call as body की पवित्रता. Okay, it is assumed by the veterans or the elderly people that if a girl of which has attained the age of sexual maturity, if she will go out to school, she is vulnerable to losing her female bodily chastity. She is vulnerable to losing her purity. That is why the it was a humongous task for the government of India to increase the gross enrollment ratio, that out of 100 girls who are eligible to go to secondary schools, only 75% were going. Only 75 girls were going to school. To get them to school, we had launched midday meal scheme for overall for boys and girls, right? But to get them to school, mobilization, awareness among people was required. This kind of a thing was done by movies like Mardani and UPSC toppers and women entry into army, etc., etc. Sports culture, likewise. Okay, so CBSE has also been declaring toppers. Most of the time, the girls are toppers. It is not a coincidence, right? So you have to understand that why are girls being toppers. It all this is feeding into inculcating a positive. All this is a phenomenon in general, right? So I'm not saying girls are less eligible to be toppers. All I'm saying is government deliberately wanted them to score one notch above boys so that the societal attitude towards the girls improves, right? First trimester and antenatal care registration. The registration of pregnancy during the very first trimester, antenatal care registration have increased from 61% to 81% thanks to ASHA workers, accredited social health activists, field workers of the health machinery of India. All this has led to it. Okay, so this thing is there. Now moving further, launched by Prime Minister, this is the background of it. Main objectives: prevention of gender biased sex selective elimination. Another question UPSC has asked is Preconception Prenatal Diagnostic Technologies Act, PCPNDT Act 1992, amended from time to time. Why PCPN, despite having PCPNDT Act, sex selective abortions are happening? Prospective parents go to the clinic, they request, ask, bribe the doctor, the radiologist to get to know the sex of the baby in the womb. And there are two phenomena: female feticide, when in the fetus itself they kill her, or infanticide, when born unwanted she is killed. Okay, why PCPNDT Act has been infructuous? How can we say that it has been ineffective? Why? Naturally the birth ratio should be in favor of boys, agreed, but it should not be as much in favor. Okay, biologically speaking, the boys are more likely to be born than girls. Okay, biologically, this is the statistics. But why? If the ratio is highly skewed in favor of boys, it means that some tests are happening. Problem is, in the deep pockets of Punjab, Haryana, UP, and other states also, there are portable machines. Portable means you can carry them on a bicycle. Portable ultrasound machines through which they can detect it. Okay, now these portable machines have been banned in the last few years, that these machines should not be produced at all. Wherever they have been produced, they are already in use. One machine earlier used to come for 1.5 to 2 lakh rupees, small portable machine. Now that machine's price is 8 to 10 lakh rupees. Because for every sex selective test, you have to pay 30, 40, 50,000 depending upon which state you are in. So these are the reasons which have rendered these things ineffective, the government programs ineffective. Okay. Now, what are the new changes in BBP scheme? We can say BBBP 2.0, as I called it in the beginning. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao 2.0 version, ensuring 1% increase in enrollment at secondary level. 78.5% is it. Every year, 1% has to increase. Okay, in science, technology, engineering, mathematics subjects. Why? Because this will Abhi, right now the girls are in polytechnic, okay, where they teach them how to weave fulkari suits, etc. These are vocational skills, okay, home sciences, etc. But now we want the girls to be engaged or taught in the applicable skills, the skills that industry requires. Okay, many girls in urban areas are coming up with software engineering, etc., etc., which is making them employable. Once they are employable, there will be income in their hands. Once they will have income, they will be financially empowered. Once they will be financially empowered, cycle goes on. They will have more control over their life, right? So these things are there. Skilling of girls and women every year, mainly non-traditional livelihood skills. raising awareness about safe menstrual hygiene, promulgating elimination of child marriages. Child marriages in Rajasthan are still a menace, a problem. Again, the reason is female bodily chastity. Those type of reasons are there, right? Now, moving further, Saif Ali Khan's enemy property case. Madhya Pradesh High Court has asked Saif Ali Khan to approach the appellate authority against an order of the central government that declared historical properties of Pataudi, his father, Pataudi family of Bhopal, estimated to be worth rupees 15,000 crore as enemy property. What is the meaning of enemy property? I'll give you the background. Enemy Property Act 2017 was passed, which said that anybody who belonged to or migrated to Pakistan, okay, after the partition of India, if they left behind any property, that property will be declared as enemy property and will be seized by the government. Okay, and it will be confiscated, it will be in the possession of the enemy of the government of India. Okay, now Saif Ali Khan has approached the court, and a court has said that you need to approach the appellate authority against the order of this thing, enemy property thing, that this property will now be taken over by this thing. The old Enemy Property Act was of 1968. A new act was brought about in 2017. I had done a small video on this way back in 2017 when I just started teaching. Okay, so Enemy Property Act says that why enemy property is declared as such, because this property during the time of war between India and Pakistan might be used for something negative, for doing something negative towards India. Anybody who left behind his property while migrating to Pakistan during the partition or afterwards, whatever, okay, his property will be declared as enemy property. This is the essence of it. Details will follow in the later on. Can legal heirs, now Saif Ali Khan is the legal heir of Pataudi. Can he claim the enemy property? These properties are permanently vested with the custodian of enemy property appointed by the central government, with no room for inheritance or transfers. Okay, there is no room for re-inheritance of the property. Under the Defence of India rules formulated under the Defence of India Act, these properties were vested with the custodian of enemy property. Okay, so this is there. Now, what happens to the enemy property after its takeover? Just read it. The analytical news articles I have covered. Okay, this news article is not as I would say analytical, very factual. So a detailed list of enemy properties and their valuations is submitted to the government within a specified time frame. Valuation committee is there. Just remember the institution: custodian of enemy property is there. Enemy property disposal committee provides recommendations on whether to sell, transfer or maintain the property. Sometimes these properties, because of their historic structure, can be used as a heritage property also, heritage kind of palace, etc. Okay, as in case of Pataudi. Now, movable enemy properties such as shares may be sold through public auction, tenders, etc. Okay. Now, what is USA's new rule for exporting AI chips? We all know about it. We have covered it in the past on 10th of January 2025. That is why I urge, I request, I direct, I command all of you to be regular with it. Sometimes you wake up early in the winters because sun is shown, right, but sometimes it is cloudy and you guys are sleeping. That should not be the case. Get hold of the news analysis in the morning itself so that you've done one major task of the day. Otherwise, sometimes it will be cloudy, sometimes it will be sunny, and days would pass on. With an objective to advance increased control over the circulation of artificial intelligence chips, USA led in the manufacturing of these AI chips. Now, with the advent of AI has come to a level where it is being used in common households. USA does not want to lose that lead which it had. Thanks to the reverse engineering skills of countries like China and India, you give us a toy. In India, there's a joke which is said, you give the baby, for example, imagine this to be a toy, a cell charger though. You give Indians a cell charger, they will unscrew it like a baby in India would do. In Hindi, we call it as Anjar Panjar Khol Dena, right? we will dismantle it to the core, and then we'll see what's the technology inside, and then we will make our version of cheaper technology, cheaper version of this cell. This is what we are known to do in India and China, right? We don't have original skills. We are yet to catch up with the US and other developed countries of the world like Japan, etc. There's a joke. It is said that Japan made a needle, USA did a hole in that, and when it came to India for further processing and all, Indians wrote it made in India, right? This is what we do. So these are our engineering skills. So that is why the problem is USA does not want to lose that lead that it got. Okay, that is why it held the regulations. It has come up with the AI chips regulation, verified end user, VEU norms. VEU. Verified end users would only be allowed to export these AI chips from the USA. Okay. Now, the Bureau of Industry and Security of the US introduced the tiered framework. Countries have been divided into 3 tiers. First tier, countries without restrictions for exports. For example, Australia, Belgium, Canada, South Korea, UK, and Japan. These countries are friendly to USA, or USA believes that these countries are already capable of manufacturing these. Right? Okay, for those of you who are not able to find the channel, the link of my channel of PW is given in the description box and also in the pinned comment on this channel, right? There from you can find the PDF every day. Introduces caps on the volume. How many AI chips can you import? Uh, there are limits, there are caps on it, and exemption based on specific specifications alongside mandatory authorization and licensing. We have covered this topic, still this is a revision. Transactions contributing to the development of advanced AI models. Any transaction contributing to the development, for they have to go through the verified end user authorization. Only when the USA's this department gives them, BIS, US Bureau of Industry and Security gives them the VEU authorization, then only can a country import it. Okay, for the second tier countries, India has been kept here. Okay, those that do not contribute to the development of AI models, such as chips with a collective computation power of roughly 1700 advanced GPUs. Okay, graphics processing units. So GPU is a new term for gaming computers, etc. You are coming across, but it has been in vogue, it has been in news or uh, fashion for quite a long time now. China and India together have been categorized under this subhead, second tier. Okay. Now, third tier, it includes arms embargoed countries such as North Korea, Iraq, and Iran, and Russia, among others. These countries will have no access to the US AI technology, US GPUs at all. Done. So, now USA's new rules, just go through it. Longish article. Last article of the day, Crosspathy. When the doctor trained in homeopathy is allowed to practice allopathy through the government regulations. This is called as crosspathy. Somebody is crossing over to the other side. Doctors, because of dearth, because of lack of doctors in our country, shortage of doctors in our country, the doctors of homeopathy, Ayush, they are being allowed by the Maharashtra government regulations to cross over to allopathy. Allopathy course, MBBS course is of 4 5 years, right? Right, 4 years. Now, how can a person who has done a diploma degree of 1.5 years, 18 months, be allowed to practice allopathy, modern medicine? So, in this regard, Supreme Court had come across a case in Poonam Verma versus Ashwin Patel, in which a homeopathy doctor prescribed allopathic medicine to a patient, and patient died. Okay, patient subsequently dying. The Supreme Court held the homeopathic doctor liable for negligence, as he had prescribed medications that he was not qualified to prescribe. Got it? Crosspathy. So these are the questions for 23rd of January. Question number 1. Question number 2, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Then question number 3, with reference to Enemy Property Act, consider the following statements. I will share the PDF of Enemy Property Act 2017 on the Telegram channel for your convenience. Just go through it. The advantage of English medium students is that you just have to read it. You are not in a situation where you do not understand the English language. Okay, so that makes my task easier as a teacher, wherein I am supposed to explain the concepts, how those concepts are analyzed from the perspective of UPSC exam, and how can we have both the sides of the argument, arguments in favor, arguments against. Now, answers for the questions of 22nd of January 2025. What is transmission mechanism? In what context are you talking about transmission mechanism? Okay, so this was all the answers to 4 questions of yesterday. I take your leave, guys. Thank you. Have a good day, everybody. It was a pleasure teaching you. We'll be coming up with the 3rd lecture of Udan series of Indian polity, in which we are going to see the salient features of Indian Constitution, preamble, the philosophy of Constitution, etc. The lecture will be uploaded at around 6 p.m. today. Stay tuned for that. Right? Thank you. Have a good day. Plan your day before you end up wasting another day. Thank you, guys. Ethical dilemma. Okay, we'll come up with the ethical dilemma from tomorrow onwards.